session of December 17, 2024 to order at 6:16 p.m. All council members are present. Please join us all for the Pledge of Allegiance.
My ear.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item of business is to consider the minutes of December 3rd, 2024, regular session city council meeting. These minutes were provided in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? There are no corrections, and so the minutes will stand approved as submitted. The next item is public hearing 2024-988. Director Peters. Oh, we have Galen Price. Director Price.
Mayor and Council, this is a public hearing to receive comments on the 2023-2024 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The city is required to complete and send to HUD on an annual basis a CAPER which describes the activities undertaken during the program year using federal funds granted to the city of Waco by HUD. This year's CAPER covers the period of October 1st, 2023 through September 30th of 2024. A draft copy of the CAPER was put out for public comment on December 5th, 2024 and will remain out for public comment for 15 days. Notice was posted in the Waco Tribune Herald on December 5th, 2024. Copies are provided in the Housing and Community Development Office, the City Secretary's Office, and in all 4 libraries for review by the public. In addition, a copy is available on the city's website on the Housing and Community Development Department webpage. No comments were received as of this public hearing date, and no formal action is required by the council other than holding this public hearing.
Thank you, Director Price. Are there any questions for staff? There are none. And City Secretary Hicks, do I need to open a public hearing here or not?
No, yes, you do need to open the public hearing for comment, but there's no action required, so no vote.
Okay. I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing, and there is no council action required. The next item to consider is public hearing 2024-989. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving the final plan unit development plan for Cowan Village Phase 4, proposing 134 single-family lots in accordance with the approved Cowan Village concept plan for a property described as being 45.89 acre tract of land situated in the El Marble Addition, Abstract 580, McLennan County, Texas, being a portion of the called 151.73 acre tract of land described to LG Cowan LLC as shown in the instrument recorded in document number 2015-023-163 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the PUD based on the following findings and conditions. The findings are that the final PUD is consistent with the approved concept PUD, conditions of the approved concept PUD, and the requirements of the PUD ordinance. And 2, the circulation plan, public facilities and service plan, preliminary architectural plans, and site development and landscaping plan, including the final PUD, are adequate. We do have 3 conditions. 1, at time of development, full building plans must be submitted, meeting all City of Waco development requirements, including but not limited to the following: building code, site grading and drainage, parking, signage, vehicle, pedestrian access and circulation, landscaping, refuse location and access, and fire protection location and access. Building permits will not be issued until full compliance with all development standards of the City of Waco and the approved PUD plans. 2, the property must be platted, meeting all requirements of the PUD and subdivision ordinance before issuance of permits. And 3, per approved concept plan, an 8-foot privacy fence or wall must be constructed along the northern property line adjacent to Stanford Oaks Addition.
Thank you, Director Peters. Are there any questions for staff? I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who would like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Fairfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Ewing,
Yes.
Borderoud,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
That motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2024-990. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing on an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending Section 28-929 of Division 3 Accessory Structures and Uses of Article 5 Supplementary District Regulations of Chapter 28 Zoning of the Code of Ordinances for the purpose of establishing criteria for fence construction, including height, installation, and maintenance standards, repealing all ordinance or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the ordinance amendments as proposed.
Thank you, Director Peters. Are there any questions for staff? I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I appreciate the work of staff and the Plan Commission and others in this ordinance. It's, I think, a needed change that'll benefit our residents a great deal.
Totally agree, Councilmember. City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Fairfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Ewing,
Yes.
Borderoud,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
That motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2024-991. Director Peters.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance at City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed to certain properties containing approximately 1.35 acres, described as lots 11 through 13, Block DD of the West End Addition, known as 2405 and 2409 Sanger Avenue, shall be changed from C2 district classification and become and be designated into O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a saving clause, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the zone change based on the following findings. The proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and permits O3, subject to certain criteria, including the O3 zoning is located on a street classification as a collector or hire, or has access to two intersecting streets, one of which is classified as a collector of hire. 2, the proposed rezoning is consistent with the Waco Strategic Housing Plan by increasing the availability of residentially zoned lots that provide better development opportunities to address the need for new housing. 3, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in O3 zoning. And 4, the properties meet all area with requirements for O3 zoning.
Thank you, Director Peters. Do any council members have questions for staff on this one? If not, I will now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present here tonight who'd like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one? City Secretary Hicks, will you please poll the council?
Fairfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Ewing,
Yes.
Borderoud,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is public hearing 2024-992.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from medium-density residential office flex to mixed-use flex on properties containing approximately 2.2 acres, described as Lot 6 and 7, Block 2, the Sunwest Village Addition, known as a portion of 200 Stage Line Drive, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that certain property described above shall be changed from O2 to C2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determined the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the land use designation change based on the following findings. The public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in mixed-use flex land use designation and mixed-use flex designations consistent with the surrounding areas. or surrounding land uses and other area properties that are already designated as mixed-use flex. They also recommended approval of zoning based on the following findings. The proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component as comprehensive plan is revised. The public infrastructure is generally adequate to provide for uses allowed in C2 zoning district, including the road system consisting of a collector street, Stage Line Drive, that provides access to the property. The property meets all the area and width requirements for C2 zoning district, and the proposed C2 zoning is compatible with the surrounding Sunwest Village neighborhood and other uses along a major thoroughfare, which is Highway 84.
Thank you, Director Peters. Are there any questions for staff on this public hearing? Seeing none, I'll now open a public hearing for comments. Is anyone present who would like to speak regarding this item? Seeing no speakers, we'll close that public hearing. Is there a motion?
We got a move for approval over here, Mayor.
I hear a motion.
I got a second.
I hear a motion. Over there, a motion, and over here, a second.
D5 motion,
We do
D3 second.
We've fulfilled the motion and second requirements. Do I hear any discussion on this item? There being no discussion, City Secretary Hicks, would you please poll the council?
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Borderoux.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. The next item to consider is the consent agenda, and tonight we have two resolutions that have been pulled from the consent agenda. They'll be voted on separately. The first one is Resolution 2024-1010, 2024-1010, and in this, let me get situated here. On this one, we do have a speaker, Mr. Andy Patillo. There you are, Mr. Patillo. Mr. Patillo, on Resolution 1010, as you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the council.
Andy Patillo for Quicksilver Investments, members of the council. Now that I see this has been moved to the consent agenda, I don't have a whole lot to say, but I am in support of it and hope that y'all are too. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Patillo. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. We will move that one directly to a vote then. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Bearfield. Rodriguez. Ewing.
Yes.
Borderoux.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. We'll now move to one other resolution on which we have an affidavit of substantial interest from Councilmember Borderoux. That is 2024-995. Do I hear a motion on that resolution?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion, so City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item to consider is the entire consent agenda, and the consent agenda tonight consists of resolutions 2024-993 through 2024-1025, except for 2024-995 and 2024-1010, and I will entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved on the consent agenda. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Bearfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Ewing.
Yes.
Borderoux.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye, that motion passes. Next item on the agenda is ordinance 2024-1026. City Attorney Perdon.
Amending Section 25-245, Junk Vehicle Disposal of Article 10, Junk Motor Vehicles of Chapter 25, Traffic and Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, to comply with Chapter 683 of the Texas Transportation Code, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date, and finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the?
I wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
We're only considering this to bring it up to the Texas Transportation Code and for no other reason, or,
That's correct.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember Rodriguez. Any further discussion on this one? City Secretary Hicks, please poll the council.
Field,
Yes.
Rodriguez, Ewing,
Yes.
Bordereau,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye. That motion passes. The next item to consider is the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of this agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. The council is unable to conduct a discussion, but will listen. We'll ask staff to look into concerns and we'll provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. And if you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. And we do have a card tonight, and so I guess we have a card. I need to, wait one second, Evan. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments, and you'll be given 10 minutes to address the council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you are forfeiting your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through the use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation services. While public discourse is very important to the council, we have to maintain order in the meetings so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the sergeant at arms shall remove from the council meeting any person who, while addressing the city council or while attending the city council meeting, makes personal or impertinent or slanderous remarks, becomes boisterous, or makes unauthorized remarks from the audience, claps hands, stomps feet, whistles, yells, or makes similar demonstrations. We have one card, and that's Mr. Herring, Mr. Ephraim Herring. And when you get up here, name and address in 3 minutes.
My name's Ephraim Herring. I live at 1044 Chestnut. 202,695 days. The reason why I'm here is I'm gonna put you in my mindset. In 2011 and 2014, I worked on the border by Governor Abbott. I know that most local employees are public servants. So I'm gonna go right to the point. 2002, yeah, my mother was contacted by a Waco employee that I wrote a ticket to for not having a safety belt on. That individual showed up at her house. I wrote in 2001, her house got condemned in 2002. I asked the individual who that, plus I didn't give her a date of the meeting for the public's commission. So when I asked the inspector for the documentation for that house, why they tore it down, couldn't find it. Sounds familiar. So then I turned the other cheek. I had to leave because I know a part of me that I was raised in East Waco. I am a born East Waco, and I was raised up during the 70s and 80s, which everybody knows that by that time period, we led the nation in things that were not, say, normal. So then in 2000, so I turned the other cheek and left because my mother knew who I was, and so she said, turn the other cheek and leave. I left. So then it come up in 2015 for her 80th birthday. So she had paid $4,000 when she was on a fixed income. She paid $4,000 to keep her own land, that the city had tore down her house. So let me give you my mindset here. So then I said, okay, Mom, you know what? You told me to turn the other cheek. It's my fault that you got your house tore down because I felt that was a retaliation for what I did. So then I come back in 2015, and you see your water department tell me that the property, that the sewer line that traveled across the 1044 Chestnut, and went across 1046 Chestnut. I told your people then, no, that's not true. They argued with me and held off, lost the contract, and then come out to find out it wasn't true. It cost me $3,000. That was my mindset. So then, I said, you know what? This one employee kept talking about neighbor works Waco, blah, 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 blah. So you know what? I'm trying to get my mom's house done for she's 80. So then they got the house started. I was promised by the director, for the president of the neighbor works Waco, hey man, my house done, blah, 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 for your money. That didn't happen. So then as I'm sitting there in April, after my birthday, I started walking around the property we're working on. Like I told you earlier, 2011, 2014, I deported people that shouldn't be here in America. Guess what I found on my property? Guy had just deported. So I went and told the manager that ain't nothing but Dave Waco. He got pretty upset because I didn't tell him where I found him. I asked him this one question. Are the people on your property documented? He exploded. Not a problem. I could contact people I need to contact. So then all of a sudden I showed up here. The guy that did the site, reason why the site plan is so mad right now is because the guy that did the site plan that they hired was a guy that we caught up in our sting operation for drugs. God bless that.
Thank you, Mr. Herring. Is there anyone else present who'd like to speak during the hearing of visitors? Seeing no one, we'll close the hearing of visitors. We will now go to council comments on items of community interest. Are there any announcements the council would like to make?
Mayor, just briefly, while I wanted to reiterate appreciation for the Perdon family's amazing showing at the Waco Wonderland Parade and our city secretary and her team's great job with the float and facilities and parks for just an amazing experience. I was going to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" to put us all in the mood, but I know we've got exec. So I've got a brief quotation by former President Calvin Coolidge. "Christmas is not a time nor a season, but a state of mind. To cherish peace and goodwill, to be plenteous in mercy, is to have the real spirit of Christmas."
Wow, our council bard comes through again.
Mr. Coolidge clearly didn't live in Texas in July.
That is true.
Christmas never felt more like a season.
Any other announcements? The council would like to make?
No.
Yeah, no, can't top that. Now we'll move to council reports and requests for scheduling future agenda items. Are there any council requests for future agenda items? No. There being no further business, we will now recess the regular session for executive session as read into the record by the city secretary at 6:38 p.m.
All we need is a
Attorney, notice is hereby given that the city council will go into executive session in accordance with the following provisions: Attorney Briefing, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.071, and Real Property, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.072, Water Park Ground Lease and Operating Agreement with Waco Family Entertainment LLC, assignment, consent to assignment and assumption of Water Park Ground Lease and Operating Agreement with Waco Family Entertainment LLC, Store Manager, Master Funding, number 8 LLC, and Horizon Family Holding LLC, consent to sublease of Water Park Ground Lease and Operating Agreement with Store Master Funding, number 8 LLC, and amendments number 1 and 2 to the Water Park Ground Lease and Operating Agreement with Store Master Funding, number 8 LLC, and Real Property, Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.072. We are now in executive session.